Today in the My Team series, I'm joined by FPL Heisenberg, who I used to do a podcast with. He's got 7 top 30k finishes. He knows his stuff. Wes, you're here to share your team with us.
I am indeed, John. Yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
Yep, can't wait. So let's get stuck right in. Who is your starting goalkeeper?
So my starting goalkeeper is Raya at Brentford. Yeah, 4.5 million. And the reasoning is I think he's the best pick of the 4.5s. The sort of first opening 5 fixtures, I'm probably going to a wild card early, so I'm looking at the sort of 5, 6, 7 fixtures are okay. The first 2 pretty tough, Leicester, Man United, but then it's sort of Fulham, Everton, Palace. And yeah, just generally Brentford, trust them defensively, save point potential. I would love to stretch, of course, to someone like Edison or Mendy or something like that, but you know, we're all trying to balance the books, aren't we? So at the minute, I can only afford a 4.5 keeper, so he's my 4.5 of choice.
No, I like it. We've had a few people go for the more premium guys, but you know, if you want big at the back, if you want a couple of nice mids and a premium forward, something's got to give.
So yeah, my sub keeper is just Dennis, and you know, arbitrary 4.0 goalkeeper really, and the fact that I didn't want to clog up a slot at one of the bigger teams like the likes of Spurs, Liverpool, etc. with a 4.0 from them, so I've gone for a Bournemouth backup keeper. I don't think any of the 4.0s will play. Dennis is also in for a bit of a laugh as well, just to remind me of Dennis getting me a red card as my captain last season, which did for a lot of us.
A nice little Easter egg. Yeah, first time I've seen Dennis picked, but again, just the important thing is there is you're not blocking up premium slots. How are we looking in defence? Who's your first defender?
My first defender is, we'll go cheapest to most expensive then. I've gone for Patterson.
That's exciting. Yeah, because everyone always goes the other way, and I know you're going to say Trent. I know you're going to say Trent at some stage, but we'll go. So cheapest is Patterson.
Yeah, Patterson. He's an attacking fullback. Is he nailed on? I don't know. He's going to sit on my bench every week. He's 4.0, and people keep saying, "Oh, Everton are no good," which is fine, but he's 4.0. He's got some attacking potential because he plays fullback. So I think he got an assist in a preseason game recently as well.
He got 2.
So perfect. So yeah, you can't ask for more of that for a 4.0, so more than happy to go for him.
Yeah, I think he's seen as kind of Coleman's replacement longer term, and exactly. 2 assists kind of has me. I think it was against Blackpool, it could be wrong, but it's kind of between him and Nico Williams for me. I think neither team's amazing, but when I look at it, they're both 4 million. I kind of like Patterson. Maybe Nico Williams will be more nailed, but Patterson with assists already in pre-season, he's an exciting pick, just to have on the bench, and maybe, against like Forest or Leeds there and 2 of the first 5, even Brentford, maybe he does something for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is the next most expensive?
So it's actually another 4.0. Something you just mentioned, Nico Williams, because I'm going to be playing a 3-5-2. So yeah, again, like you said, Williams and Patterson, they both seen the pick of the 4.0s, both attacking. I'm not expecting much from either of them, to be honest, but they're going to be on my bench, and the rest of my team will hopefully play the vast majority of their games. So, and because I keep saying this, but my early wild card, so I'm not too worried about being unbalanced, or 1 week I might have 10 players in my team because someone gets injured. Big deal. I'll be wild carding and getting a stronger bench soon enough anyway.
Yeah, that wild card strategy, a big part of building teams this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is your first playing defender?
My first playing defender is Laporte.
Okay, I'm actually really excited you've said that. I was waiting for you to go Cancelo, Robertson, Trent, or Cancelo, Robertson, James. Laporte, he's different. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I wanted a route into that Man City defence. He's obviously the same price as James and Chilwell. So, by the time the season starts, will I switch to one of those two? Maybe, because obviously they're attacking fullbacks. However, Laporte plays for the better defence, more clean sheet potential, good early fixtures, and he's a threat from corners, isn't he? So he might not get many assists like the guys we've just mentioned, but he will pop up with the odd goal from a corner. So so he's got some attacking threat. And again, it's balancing the books, isn't it? If I did have the unlimited money, would I go for Cancelo over Laporte? Yes, I would. But balancing the books, Laporte's a good option.
Laporte, yes, sound option. I don't think and you'll agree, obviously he's nowhere near the same category as Cancelo, but I'm really interested to see where you've spent the million, because obviously 2 budget guys, you're going 3 at the back. A lot of people are going 5.
Yeah.
You've went cheaper on Laporte. I imagine you're going to have a Trent +1 here. It's going to be fun when we get into midfield and forward, because you're going to have more cash than anyone's had so far, I think.
Yeah.
So who's our 4th defender?
Yeah, you're right. You predicted it earlier, I think, with Robertson. Yeah, I mean, doesn't need much sort of talk through, does he? But I know I can't remember the exact game week range now, but I'm pretty sure the second half of the season he actually outscored Trent, and points per game when Diaz started. I think Robertson was still ahead. So that third, Liverpool slot could have been someone like Diaz in midfield, but I wanted Robertson. Robertson's a really good asset, and over the years, I think him and Trent are both chasing down Baines' all-time assist record as well. And clean sheets. Sheets bonus. So yeah, Robertson doesn't need me to say much about him really.
Robertson, and I imagine the last one's Trent. If you don't go without Trent,
pop him in.
Pop him in. Thank God. Yeah. See, if you didn't go without him, I'd praise you and lambast you in equal proportions. Yeah. One for being rogue, I'll be praising you, but equally I'll be calling you an idiot. So Robbo and Trent.
You're a big Trent fan, John. I know that, so I couldn't do a video with you and not have Trent.
I know. Are we sort of hinted at behind me with the signed jersey, but yeah, no, just a big fanboy. So Trent and Robbo, the Liverpool double up, ayo.
There you go.
So yeah, like I just think those two, we could sit and blabber on about them all day. People are sick of hearing about them.
Exactly,
no brainers. Laporte and the other two choices here quite interesting, to be fair. But we'll move on to midfield and see where you're going to splash the 63 million you've got left.
Yep. So these five are all going to start, and we'll go cheapest to most expensive. So Neto, again, a fairly popular pick on FPL Twitter. However, that's not sort of my reasoning for him at all, actually. I think he's just purely there for the value reason. If he came in at 6.0 or 6.5, probably wouldn't be looking at him, but because he is 5.5, he's off the back of an injury, long-term injury last season, hence why he's been obviously priced down. So I think he'll exceed that. Yeah, he's my cheapest midfielder, but I'm expecting, I know, the argument is that Wolves don't score many goals, but, their opening fixtures, Leeds, Fulham, Tottenham, Newcastle, Bournemouth, pretty good fixtures. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of him as a player, and I think he's a talisman. So if Wolves are going to score goals, I think he's going to be involved in either the goals or the assists. So yeah, I do think he's a good value pick.
Yeah, and I think he's got 3 goals in pre-season. Well, two recently and one earlier in July. I think it was like Forest Green Rovers or something. He got one, but he's been scoring goals. So there's a reason everyone's picking him. Who is the next most expensive?
So Martinelli at 6.0, and again, this pick is sort of based on his price. Do I think he'll outscore someone like, say, Saka? He could do, and Saka's 8 million. So Arsenal's opening fixtures are good. At certain stages last season, Martinelli looked like the Arsenal pick, then it sort of looked like Saka was the better pick. So yeah, the fact that he's priced at 6 million just tempted me in there, and I think he's, again, one that could exceed his price point or his price tag. I think just the worry there is maybe if Smith Rowe is in like really good form in pre-season, or looks like he might get some starts or something like that, or if Arsenal go ahead and sign another sort of forward winger, then yeah, I might have to rethink that one. But as things stand, I'm happy with Martinelli.
Yeah, I think all you can do with that is watch pre-season. If Smith Rowe becomes the guy, then you just don't pick Martinelli. But
exactly,
the thing I pointed out in the last episode, people who watched might remember. If you haven't, you can go back and watch it with Rich Clark, was that he hit Martinelli. And what I liked about it is when you look at the predicted points over the next 4 game weeks, as people can see on the screen now, it goes like Salah, Son, De Bruyne, Sterling, Foden, Diaz, right? All worth way more than Martinelli. Then it's Martinelli, and even below him, you have players with price tags way in excess of him. 10 million, 8 million, 7.5, 8.5, 8, 7, 7, and there's way more below that, where Martinelli is punching massively above his weight in terms of predicted points and preseason performance. So I love the pick. Who's next?
So trying to do some maths here to figure it out, or figure out where we're at. Shouldn't be that hard, but it's Rashford in next. And he's dividing opinion. And again, I'm not being swayed. Preseason's an interesting one about how to sort of analyse it, because, just scoring goals and that isn't necessarily everything you want to see, but it is a good indication. And if the whole team are, if Man United are going to play better as a team, Rashford's obviously, again, like these other guys, have been priced down a little bit. And again, because Rashford was poor last year and so were Man United, he's coming a lot cheaper than what his potential is. So that's, again, if Rashford's in there at 7.58 million, I'm not going anywhere near him, but he's 6.5. And yeah, I just feel like there's a bit of momentum under Ten Hag. There's quotes from Rashford saying like this is his first proper pre-season in a while. He's really feeling sharp. He's, benefiting from that. So yeah, this is kind of a chance to give Rashford another go. His first 2 games are Brighton, and Brentford. 2 decent enough fixtures. If he doesn't look good in those games, in game week 3 when he faces Liverpool, then maybe it's a transfer out for whoever the emerging mid-price midfielder is. But yeah, I think I'm happy to start the season with Rashford. There are some cons to him, of course, like who's to say he has actually turned a corner? Who's to say he's guaranteed game time, and etc. There's still some unknowns there which I don't really like, but yeah, he's kind of a bit of a gamble pick, and I don't mind having 1 or 2 gambles out of my 15.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the differentials in there. Sort of, I keep saying this to people: the more tempting template, you go, you're never going to be first in the world, but you're probably not going to be last, but you're kind of settling for mid-table obscurity, do you know, or upper mid-table. But the thing with Rashford is, like, you know, United will have that new manager bounce. There's no doubt about it. It seems that way in pre-season. The thing for me is, where do the goals come from? Is it Rashford, Martial, or Sancho? Like, who is going to be the good value pick? They're all under 7.5. So it's one of those where Rashford obviously has come down in price massively. He has shown previous FPL pedigree. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I like him as a pick. 6.5 million. Arguably, you know, depending on how the season goes, could be the value pick of the season. Depending. Sure. This next guy is worth more than 6.5 anyway.
He is, and it's James Maddison at 8 million. And
you like him? You've always kind of liked him.
I have. He did really well for me at the end of last season, and which meant I can't. You know, when he's in your team, you watch them a little bit more, don't you? And you know, just watching him massively passes the eye test. And I think in that second half of last season, he really he's been a bit of an inconsistent player over the years, I'd say, and especially as an FPL pick, he'd sometimes be maybe, you know, he'd run the game for Leicester without actually getting the goals and assists. I think he's had a change in mentality and a change in attitude. I've seen countless interviews where he's talked about his numbers. He's very conscious of his assist numbers and his goal numbers, his stats like that. So, you know, he's motivated to actually get those goals and assists, which may sound silly, but some midfielders are happy to play well in the game, like a Tillemans, for example. But Maddison wants those goals and assists, and he was getting them towards the end of last season. I think he got 7 returns in his last 4 games. On the flip side of Maddison, what I would say is there is lots of competition at that 8 million price point. I think there's loads of good options this year. There's Foden, there's Mount, there's Luis Diaz, Kulusevski, lots and lots of nice 8 million midfielders. And Leicester's fixtures are a bit hit and miss, aren't they? They've got Arsenal and Chelsea away in their first 4, but they've also got Brentford and Southampton at home. So again, I could be convinced to swap him out maybe, but yeah, I do really like him. I feel like he's Leicester's best player. I feel like he's going to have the best season of his career this year.
Well, I just put out a video of my predictions, and I predicted the best 8 million midfielder in terms of points this season would be Maddison.
Nice.
Which might be mad, but like I really like him. And I mean, I've got it up on the screen there now, the company, and based off the algorithm with the first 4 game weeks, it's not expecting him to do too well. I kind of disagree, to be honest. I think Brentford and Southampton are cracking fixtures. But it's funny because I kind of go against Vardy, where I'm like, I don't think Vardy's great, but I think Maddison is a great pick.
Vardy's
in hindsight, I might have went for like Diaz for the 8 million pick. I can't remember, because I do think Luis Diaz will be brilliant, but I do really like Maddison as well. So I love that pick, and I love how differential this team's looking so far.
Yeah, and great points there, especially about Diaz. And I think just because obviously I've got the 3 Liverpool guys already, so that kind of made my mind up, because Liverpool have so many other good options, which obviously leads me on to my next pick, which is Salah. And I won't obviously bleat on about him, because it's obvious why he's a good pick.
Yeah.
However, what I will say is he's not actually, most years I'd say stick Salah in, he's essential, then build your team around him. He's currently in my draft, but I wouldn't say, I think there's an argument to say he's not essential. Could I have this exact same team as I've got now, but swap Salah for Son, De Bruyne, even Luis Diaz, and it still be a valid team? I'd argue yes, and plus it would give me money in the bank to actually improve the rest of my team as well, which is always the argument with Salah. But I do think there are a lot of good premium options this year. You can build a good team without Salah, so don't be afraid. If you're watching this and you haven't got Salah, as long as you built a good team, I'd say that's absolutely fine.
You see, I'm looking at it, right, and honestly, in my heart ways, I'm looking at it and I'm going, I really like Kevin De Bruyne. I think he looks so sharp pre-season. Pep's saying all the right things. I really like him. I really like Man City this year. I just really, really, really like him. And if I actually had to put like my dog's life in the line, or something I love more than anything in the world on the line, and had to pick who scores more points in the first 6 game weeks, De Bruyne or Salah, I actually think if I take EO out of the equation, I think it's De Bruyne if I have to make my own mind up. But the scary thing is Salah's ownership, and I'm scared that I'm going to get hurt really, really badly. Is that the right way to play FPL, or is it the wrong way, or is it a bit of both? What are your thoughts?
The correct answer is probably it is a bit of both. I try not to play like that as much as I can, but I think you're right. I think with this decision for myself as well, with Salah in there, am I playing that with a bit of fear? Maybe. Do I don't disagree with everything you just said about De Bruyne potentially outscoring him. I think what you do get with Salah though is you get penalties. With De Bruyne you don't, and the same with Son, you don't get penalties. With Salah, he's playing, he's their main goal threat, isn't he? He's right right wing and he's going to cut in and score with his left foot. Sometimes De Bruyne, as much as I love him as well, and towards the end of last season this wasn't the case, but sometimes he just plays a bit deeper, doesn't he? And again, like I was saying a bit earlier, he kind of runs the game with maybe not getting the goals or assists. That could happen. I'm not saying it will. I don't think it will.
I know. It's just 15 goals last season was the most he's ever scored in the Premier League, and he's already nabbed 2 in pre-season. So I'm looking at that going like, De Bruyne's going to steamroll in here and score double-digit goals again. He's going to get 20 assists, and he's going to be the man. But here's the beauty of it, Wes. You can always pivot. You can always pivot. And game week 2 is a good time to pivot based on fixtures. Bournemouth, game week 2 for City. So you could, if you really wanted to change your mind, you could always just pivot. Yeah, we're not locked in here.
You're right. And I think Salah's going to be the best captain choice game week 1, isn't he? But yeah, I think, like I said, if you're out there and you're gone for maybe a similar team to this, but you haven't got Salah, I'd say absolutely crack on. It can definitely be done this season.
You've 24 million in the bank. Now, I thought this was shaping up for a 3-5-2 and 2 big biggies, but it's looking to me like it's going to be a premium, someone who rhymes with Schmamriel Schmezus and someone else. But talk to us from budget to the top.
You worked out. So my 4.5 million forward is not really decided yet. At the minute, it is Plange or La Plange, like the French ski resort. No idea how to pronounce it. He scored a hat-trick in pre-season. I know there's a few of the 4.5 scoring goals in pre-season. None of them are nailed, like Archer from Villa. There's players like Greenwood from Leeds. They're all much of a muchness. By the time game week 1 rolls around, I'll analyse the information and try and get the one who's at least likely to get some minutes. But this player essentially is going to be third on my bench each week. So very unlikely to need them. And even if I do need them, they're only likely to get me a 1-pointer at best. But that's the thing with 3-5-2. If you're doing a 3-4-3, like the formation I used to like, then someone like Andreas Pereira or even De Silva from Brentford are much better options for your bench. So that is the benefit of 3-4-3. But I wanted to play 3-5-2. So yeah, I'm just not worrying too much about that slot. So I'll move on from Plange to my mid-price forward, which you've guessed, John. I've kind of been, a lot of people have been on it, ever since he moved to Arsenal, people have been like, right, he's locked in my team. He's almost essential with those fixtures, which I understand. I haven't been like that, but just looking at, once I've been tinkering around with my team, and I was tinkering around with 4-5-1s at one stage, but then I didn't want 2 4.5 strikers because obviously if Kane had to miss a game for whatever reason, then I've got 0, no one could come off the bench to fill that slot. I'd potentially have 0 strikers. There were some other reasons as well. And then, Jesus is doing well in pre-season as well. 8 million is a really good price for Jesus, I think. And again, just like you said about Salah down to someone like De Bruyne, with Jesus, you can easily go if Callum Wilson pops off, if Ollie Watkins, Ings pop off, if Ivan Toney pops off. Pretty much all of those strikers we always have in our teams at some stage during the season. If any one of those pop off and have a good fixture run, Jesus down to one of those is an easy transfer.
Absolutely. I agree. I think it's one of those where whenever you've got the premium price point where you can go between Kane or Haaland, I think we know who you're going to pick.
Yeah.
Whenever you've got that point covered, it's always nice to have someone covered in the mid-range. And if this was a 7 mil forward, you'd be struggling to get to Jesus if you needed to. You might struggle to get to Callum Wilson if you have a 6 or 7 million forward there. So I really like having the mid-price and the premium up top. Yeah, there's a lot of money to find there otherwise. So you're kind of in touch with everyone other than the premiums, of which there aren't really many. We're looking at Kane, Haaland, and then Ronaldo in at 10.5. So I think you've already said you're going for Harry Kane.
Yeah, that's right. So I am very bullish on the Kane versus Haaland debate. Looking at the ownership statistics, everyone seems bang set on Haaland. But for me, you've got a proven Premier League asset in Kane, over a good number of years now. The stats from 2020 are crazy. He's top for underlying statistics like expected goals, expected assists, shots on target.
Everything that you care about, exactly. He's top.
He is top for the calendar year of 2022, so the last 6 or 7 months, pretty much since Conte joined and properly got his team going. And obviously now Conte's had a full pre-season, his first pre-season. Spurs have improved as a team, which should only help Kane. And whereas on the flip side, Haaland is at some point during the season, he's going to be an amazing pick, and I will be getting him in my team because I love Haaland as a player. But he's only just joined the club. There's already talk of easing him in, not using him in every game. We all know how much Pep loves to rotate and play. He'll happily play Grealish at false 9 or Foden false 9, or even the new new Argentinian striker, John. Is it Alvarez?
Yeah, Julian Alvarez, who is, by the way, shit hot. Everyone's just not talking about him because Haaland's came, which is fair. But like Alvarez, I think at 6.5, I would be surprised if he wasn't in our teams at some stage this season.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's a few reasons why not to choose Haaland. And again, this isn't an anti-Haaland rant. Like I said, I really like him and I'd happily have him in my team if, say, gets a really bad injury in a pre-season game or something. But Kane is available. He's scoring goals in pre-season. And I personally am, very bullish on the first 6 game weeks, Kane outscoring Haaland. That's my prediction. I don't think that should be a real controversial one, but I think it kind of is.
I feel like, it's a no-brainer. I don't know. I think Kane's around 20% ownership or something at time of recording.
I think so.
And Haaland's over 60%. So we're up around that. But Wes, that's your team. We have it here. I'm going to hit save plan. We're going to see the team rating. I'm going to give you one last chance to tinker, but I don't think you're going to take it.
No, I'm all good. Let's lock it in.
He's all set. All right, let's lock it in. 92% Wes is what you've come out with. 92%, 65.5 predicted points. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, not too bad. Where do I come on the old leaderboard then?
So if we have a look at the leaderboard, and bear in mind these team ratings are all accurate at time of recording, the algorithm is obviously dynamic as players get different minutes and different form in pre-season. And Wes, you have come in with 92%. You drew with Reeve, but you had more predicted points, so you win on tiebreak. You come in 7th out of 11, 7-11 like the American convenience store chain.
Europa League, I'll take it.
If you want to give this feature and all the other features on Hubba Go, head over to the link in the description, sign up. There's a massive 50% off now in pre-season, and if you don't win your mini league, you're going to get your money back. That's a huge statement. Check out the T's and C's and give it a go. Subscribe before you leave, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.